verbal abuse or psychological aggression is a bigger problem than it looks at first glance. 1 in 3 women experience it in relationships. It is awful for the person on the receiving end, yet it is often hard to talk about. Because unlike physical violence, there is no bruise on day 1. It creeps in. At first, you just see someone become a little less joyful, a little less outspoken, a little less spontaneous. It can look like a bad day. And most of us do not see our friends every day. So the pattern hides in plain sight. You know, it is worldwide a stubborn problem. And it is not only about women, men are victims too. And no, they are not weak. People who use verbal aggression are often very skilled with words. They can talk circles around anyone when they want to. Many do not even notice they are doing it, but the damage is already done. I have to look in the mirror for a light version of this, where I played the lead role without meaning to. In the late 90s, I got married. I was known for my quick talk. My beautiful wife was more reserved, from another country. And the language gap meant I usually spoke for us and took the initiative. Without noticing, I kept doing it even when it was not needed. My voice filled the space before hers had a chance to breathe. We hired a coach, not for this issue, but that does not matter for what I'm about to explain. He was a giant of a man. During our second session, he asked me to lie on my back with my arms and legs spread. I did as he asked. And within a second, he placed his knees on my upper arms so I could not move an inch. "How does that feel?" the coach asked. I said I felt powerless and a little desperate. He nodded and said, "That is exactly how your wife feels when you start talking." It shocked me. I had never considered how paralyzing my verbal style could be for her. It absolutely qualifies as verbal aggression, and at times as psychological aggression. Especially when we disagreed, and I would deliver a polished plea in my favor, then push with, "Say something. Because if you have no opinion, we cannot move anywhere." She was already worn down by my speech. We were not equal verbally, and without intending to. I exploited the situation to get my way until she gave up. So, how did it end? We separated. And in my foolish view at the time, one of the reasons was that she never took initiative. How do you think that happened? It was me. I can talk about it now, and I have learned a lot since. I apologized to her many times, but what I did is not something I can excuse. I did not break her, thankfully, but if we had stayed together and I had never been given that insight, the risk would have been very real. Let me ask you a question. How do you recognize that you are in a relationship like this, or were? Because it is easy to call your partner, especially an ex, a narcissist. It feels neat. It gives the story a villain. But it is often not true. And it is not the point. The point is noticing when you are not a match for verbal aggression. When your voice keeps getting smaller, while the room keeps getting bigger. The first signal is quiet. You start watching your words, and you start watching the clock in your head. Timing and tact matter when a friend's dog just died. That is care. So tact and timing matter when life is raw. You do not call a friend whose dog just died to plan her birthday. That is care. But you should not need that kind of calculation for everyday talk at your own table. If you come home from work or from grabbing groceries, and you already rehearse how to start a harmless conversation, or how to avoid it altogether. Something is off. If you sit with your partner among friends and you think 10 times before you let one sentence out, and even then you trim it as you speak, you're already holding 2 red flags. Think about it. That is not insecurity. That is the imprint of earlier landings. Your body learned that speaking comes with a price, so it tries to save you the bill. In a partnership, you do not need the same personality or the same opinions, but you do need the same right to a sentence. If you think that your words require permission to exist, the ground is tilted. If that stage has passed, the next part is the one that chills you. Humiliation begins to show. Sometimes it wears a smile in public and arrives as a correction in private. Sometimes it is blunt. The blame slides to your side every time. You are the problem. You ruined the evening. Because of you, this could not happen. Because of you, your partner does not feel okay. And therefore, what was said or done is suddenly your responsibility to carry. If that sounds familiar, do not argue with it for another season. Do not wait for its perfect moment or its perfect proof. Create space. Call someone you trust. Step away long enough to hear your own voice at full volume again. If your life is safer, clearer, and more kind and open at that distance, you have your answer. You do not have to be ashamed if this is happening to you, or if you are not sure yet. Self-doubt is normal. Sometimes it really is your own insecurity speaking, and the other person is not exploiting it. They simply do not know how to meet it. That was my story for a long time. The point is not to prove a villain. The point is to get you in a room where your voice can breathe again. Do not carry this alone. Call a professional who works with relationships, communication, and abuse, and put a first session on the calendar. You are unsure what to say? Keep it simple and factual. This is what was said. This is how my body reacted. This is what the next day looked like. A good therapist or counselor will help you separate fear from facts and translate your experience into language you can use at home. If you feel unsafe today, contact an official support line in your area or emergency services and let them guide the next step. You deserve clarity and safety, not perfect words. Give yourself one concrete action before the day ends. Send the email to a therapist and a friend. Make the call to a local support line. Small, real steps beat silent guessing. You are not broken for needing help. You are responsible for getting it. And once you hear your own voice at full volume again, the path you could not see from inside the fog becomes visible. One honest step at a time.